Hey guys, how's it going? My name is kingxavid. Welcome back to a brand new video. In 2024, I started learning a little bit of game dev. Unity was the go-to choice for me back then. I tried Godot, I tried maybe some other engines as well. I just found Unity's interface to be the most intuitive, although it ships with a lot of what programmers like to call bloatware, I guess. Even if you make a blank application, it'll be 20-30 MBs. That was some kind of, it did bother me a little bit, but then I thought, well, C sharp is a standard language and I can use it someplace else as well instead of learning a particular language to be able to use Godot, which is GT script. I chose Unity back then, and here we have this little game called Fly, a journey upwards. I made this from scratch. I had zero idea about how to use Unity, how to navigate through the interface over there, and then how to program a game. I had done nothing before, so all thanks to YouTube tutorials, all thanks to ChatGPT, a lot of researching around, maybe a little bit of Stack Overflow, a whole lot of Unity documentation. And about 1 year later, I think it took me about 2-3 months to get used to the interface of Unity, and then to learn programming maybe a little bit more, because I had not used C sharp anytime before. About 6 to 7 months I was like into this. I can now work on the levels and everything. And then we came upon this little playable demo of Fly, which is now out on itch.io. It has been since about a year, I think. A journey upwards. You get greeted with this beautiful little screen. The ads won't work, and therefore you cannot tap on this button to watch an ad and get some rewards. There are no rewards. That is what I have not implemented as of yet. So there's still things that can be done, still bugs that, if you are able to find a bug, do let me know in the itch.io review section, where you can download the game. You can mute the audio, you can share the game with your friends, and you can play. Me being me, of course, I have the modded version, which means I can play all the levels from day one. I don't need to unlock them one by one, but we have three main chapters in this game: the valleys, the foothills, and we have dark inside. It's supposed to be progressive, so of course the valleys will teach you about the controls. I'm not going to go too much into all the levels. We'll just play some of the levels which I think are my favorites, if I remember correctly. Let's try level 6. So here we have, the game is basically all basic shapes. I wanted to do this as like a project, and not associated with college or anything at all. I just wanted to try something out for fun. Game dev attracted me a lot. I was following these people on YouTube, I was following these people on Twitter, and it was a very intuitive and very visual, instant gratification way to learn programming in general as well. Like, what you do see the repercussions, you do see the consequences of your actions straight away. That is why I wanted to get into game dev, and here we are. The backdrop, everything from scratch I have made with Photoshop. Probably you can make it in MS Paint or whatever is your favorite software, but everything is just some shapes. Basically, you collide with the trees, they're supposed to shake out some gems for you, and you collect those gems. 5 you get from this, 6 you get from this. You get 10? No, you get only 6. So I would assume 2 and 2 more from these two to make it 10. It's been a long time since I last played this, so I don't even remember my own game. And once you collect 10 gems, you're supposed to go up, and this all looks like a tree, right? The shapes, they make sense. You reach the end point, that is your goal. A journey upwards. Just like in life, you're supposed to try and go up, Run if you cannot run. Walk if you, run if you cannot run. Walk if you cannot walk, then crawl. But just somehow drag your body towards the finish line. That is what this game is trying to teach you, to communicate to you, ladies and gentlemen. You can play again, you can go next, or you can go back. You will only unlock level 2, say, if you have completed level 1. It goes like that, but this is the modded version. So we're gonna play the foothills. Let's try level 11. I think it should be some difficulty. There should be some difficulty to this. Spikes hurt you, right? Spikes damage you. You can go to this gem mine. It's supposed to be a gem mine that you're supposed to explode and collect the gems from, but in order to do so, you need this thing called a dynamite or a TNT, whatever you want to call it. It shows at the top right in the UI. This will explode the gem mine, and you are now able to collect the gems. You have to be very careful though, otherwise you will hit the spikes and you will die. There is some collision music there as well. Again, it's all shapes. This was my first ever project I made that was of some substance, and I did a lot of things other than, adding music, of course, because that was not just my domain. I went with some subtle sound effects because that's the best I could do. This is a bit of a challenge. I feel like I'll be okay here. Yes. But overall, as you can see, it's just basic shapes. That's all you need to get started, You got to use your shapes cleverly. The same triangles or spikes, which are just colored differently and have some kind of collision detection system going on. The same triangles are also part of the game, like, walls and everything. Right. And you do have some moving parts as well, which we will get to see in a little bit. It's in the next chapter. Come on, dude. Okay, I'm just gonna skip on and walk through. You don't have to collect all 10 gems to reach the end point. The goal is to reach the end point, not collect gems. If you don't collect them, it's okay. You're just gonna miss out on a couple of gems here and there. All right, I do want to talk about some kind of challenges that I faced. Okay, 6 months, as I mentioned, it took me to get used to the interface of Unity and C# programming. After that, it was just level building. Level building takes a lot of time, lot of trial and error, and I was doing it all on myself. I didn't send out files to anybody to try and test out the game. It was all, trial and error, trial and error. Even with the backdrop, the shapes, the spikes, how fast they should move or which direction they should move. Should they be rotating like this or just, like poking you like they are right now? All of these were trial and error based. Took me a lot of time, lot of YouTube tutorials to figure this out. This T-shaped spike looks pretty interesting. Oh my god. And this could even be made to, collapse on you once you get too close to the center of it to collect the gem. That would have been a fantastic idea as well. Here, you reach the top, the camera stops moving upwards. You can still take the ball up if you want, or if you get down enough, the camera will start following you. You reach close to this and it snatches you to success. Right, once again, you can press any of these buttons, you can go back. Even to make these buttons with like the UI system of Unity was a challenge. It is a lot different from making the actual game, because that has a full screen interface and whatnot. And then yeah, I was just learning things from there on. I didn't have a quite uh, I was not using a proper way of version control. Whatever Unity's default one was, which I figured out like almost 10 months into the project, that was all I figured out, and I'm still using that. I recently learned GitHub and Git, and now I can manage with that a little bit, I think. Dark Inside is the final chapter, and as the name implies, it's dark inside, right? And we have something to do with fire, because we can see a little bit of a flame here. Let's try chapter or like level 16 and then 17, or let's try 14 and 17, right? So this was inspired by The Alchemist. I was reading the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho back in 2024 sometime. I don't remember the exact month, but that is when I started like researching into Unity. And I just, this idea of making it the shape of a bottle, of a chemical flask or whatever it's called, that you would find in your chemistry lab in school. You collect the flame and it lights up. The original idea, actually the idea of the game, was that you collect these little flames and you put them in candles. Like you are lighting up somebody's wall. It could be a birthday candle that you're lighting up. It could be you're lighting up some street lamp, and then somebody can cross the road safely, and like very specific scenarios where you act as the good spirit to throw some light into people's life. That is what I wanted to do initially, which I could not think of a proper storyline advancement, so I just stopped with that. But yeah, you can collect flames here. If you have your brightness up, which I don't, it creates a nice visual effect. We have moving parts all over the place, and these spikes, these are called saw blades, I think. They damage you just the same. You don't want to collide with them. You want to carefully navigate your way and find your way to the top, to the end point, where you look like a sun or the moon at night, like an eclipse, to be honest, a black ball, right? We are gonna go back and try out the last level. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna let you play the last level. You can try out this game right now. It's available on itch.io. I will post the link in the description and the comments as well. And you should, by the way, if you're into game dev, or if you want to follow up with my work in game dev, both with this project here, Unity, and some bare bones projects I'm doing with the ESP32, with Raylib and whatnot, you should follow me on Twitter. That is where I post a lot of my stuff and updates and everything. Let's try level 17. I will let you play level 18 and figure out what to do there and how to go through it yourself. Every bottle tells a story. Once again, heavily inspired from The Alchemist that I was reading at the time. You're supposed to avoid obstacles, and you're supposed to go through some of them as well. Like you see here, you can just push through them. This is where it is almost like a corkscrew, right? It's like a cork to a wine bottle that you have to carefully get through. Then this part, you can collect the gem on the other side. I'm not gonna bother because this is my game and I get to make the rules here. However, this gap is too narrow to pass for me. For even me, I do not have admin privileges and I do die in this game. All the things I did by unlocking all the levels for me, and I did think of a way where you cannot be killed, you cannot die even after collisions, but that's only for the testing, like when you play the game inside of Unity itself. I didn't ship it to the actual version that can be downloaded and played. Now that I think about it, why not? Come on, yes! Man, this took me a lot of time to figure out how difficult to make this. Too easy it was for me when I was like, speed running through everything when playtesting. So I had to just make something physically difficult, in terms of like timing and like precision, right? That had to be difficult. Storyline wise, as in gameplay wise, there's nothing I could have done really with this simple idea. But yeah, as you can see, a simple little idea is all you need. The whole point of this game was a spark, the whole point of this game was this little flame you see here. It was going to be called Flames or Flame originally, where you're a firefly that takes, fire and lights up people's walls. People do a lot of projects because they want to add it on their resume, on their portfolio, for their college purposes and whatnot. For me, it was always about learning, and I don't want to sound like a complete nerd who's like, I'm always learning, and growing in life. Well, it's true, but the whole point was to try something new. I've always enjoyed the process of like watching people talk about game mechanics and how they've designed things, especially the artistic way, but that was not me. I was always drawn more into what I can do. I can do the laborsome work. To be really creative and create stunning art is just not something I have been able to do successfully in my life thus far. So it had to be, a mix of both, and it is a mix of both. It's also a mix of sound design, some music, some creativity, a lot of structuring things the right way is what is game dev, in my opinion. Let's just get through this carefully, then we can talk. Look at the giant saw blade over here. It's like the sun. It looks like a sunflower. You gotta push through. When life gets difficult, you gotta push through and aim straight ahead. Okay, this might be a bug. I don't think you should see this unless you have your internet on and ads are functional. So the ads functional check is not going right or whatever, and that's why you see this. Ideally, if everything is working right, you have your internet connection on. A quick word from our sponsor, you press on it and you cannot replay or go to the next level without it. You can go back and then go, but just a quick word from our sponsor would help me be able to monetize this game. That was the idea. So there we have it. There's also this reward button which you can press and watch an ad to get some rewards, but there are no rewards for now, which is a work in progress. I didn't feel like this game was, I didn't feel like there was anything more to add to this game, and hence I stopped working on this actively. But I do think some of the bug fixes and getting maybe ads working and then adding skins on this in this game to the like levels and the interface and the player, which is just a circle, and maybe some new levels. Let me know what you guys think, but definitely do try out Fly and Upward Journey, or Journey Upwards. It's out on h.io. I will leave the download links in the comments, in the description, everywhere. Do follow me on Twitter for more updates on this game, on any of my projects. I love to talk to people on Twitter. It's just becoming my favorite social media all over again since 2017 or 18, when I had a lot of followers there. Any which way, thank you so very much for watching. I will really appreciate it. I am not doing this for my resume, portfolio, whatever, although it does benefit me that way too, but just for my own selfish heart. If you will leave me a review on the HIO page, I will so gratefully appreciate that. It will mean the world to me. Do talk about the bugs, the flaws, the mistakes, the issues, the problems that you see as well, which will help me become that much better in understanding what I'm overseeing at the moment. Thank you so very much for watching this video. I will definitely see you with some more indie games, not made by me. I've only made this one game, but sharing my own projects is also something I want to do, and try out some other people's games, from the indie stores, right? And showcase, their artworks, their skills, their amazing and beautiful games. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.